eminent American sociologists put the America of the mid-20s under a microscope. Robert and Helen Lynn studied Main Street, USA. How did we live? How did we earn a living? How did we spend our leisure time? The average house, white clapboard, cost between $3,000 and $4,000. Our population was about 114 million. The average family had 2.8 kids, and a third of them completed high school. 1 in 6 of these children went on to finish college. These are the Peters, an average family. They enjoyed the modern conveniences of the time. New toaster, running water, indoor plumbing, vacuum cleaners. Pa Peters had a good job, put in 10 hours a day, 5.5 days a week, and earned about 55 cents an hour. His annual income was just over $1,500. The get-a-horse days were over. Some 15.5 million cars were on the roads of America. Mother Peters cooked with gas instead of coal, shopped in the chain stores springing up everywhere, enjoyed her super heterodyne radio. Delighted in that God-given right to all women, the telephone. Nearly 1 home in 2 on Main Street had phones. Prosperity gave rise to new leisure. Americans, the Sunday driver, took over the countryside. The Peters world expanded. You picked your spot, you packed your lunch, and weather permitting, you indulged in your favorite outdoor pastime. What changed the face of the land, said the Lynns in their report on Main Street, USA, was scientific advance. And underlying each new development was the great sinew of America, steel. From a flourishing industry in the 20s, steel production expanded until today it flows like a torrent into every aspect of America, shaping and molding the world we live in. Research unlocks the secrets of the future. The people who make up research are all the people who work at Armco, in the plants, in production, and here at the research center itself. This is the heart of the company. For more than 60 years, many changes that have revolutionized the lives of Americans have had their origins in Armco research. Using the latest equipment, the most experienced specialists engage in an unending search for something new, something better. They have at their disposal the best thinking and writing of Americans and of the world. Most of us think of steel as iron, period. But steel is iron transformed, iron added to, iron alloyed in 1,000 ways. Iron in its natural state will sustain little pressure, support no weight. It can be drilled into like wood. But refined, alloyed, coated, it becomes one of man's most versatile servants. From the spectrum of elements added to iron comes a spectrum of steels, each different, each for a special purpose. Steel must be put together in imaginative new ways to utilize its potential fully. Ultra-thin magnetic alloys, 1/16 the thickness of a human hair, for computers and other electronic devices. Porcelain-coated steels for many uses, requiring only 1 coat of porcelain, where formerly 2 were needed. But research scientists are never satisfied. They twist steel to test resistance to strain, to chipping. They check for adherence. They torture steel in research so that it will function better in the kitchen or on the road. Yesterday's mufflers wore out quickly. Subjected to destructive heat, corrosive forces of acid and gas fumes, the muffler was the perennial, if not more frequent, headache of every car owner. Coated steel research attacked the problem. Corrosive waste was collected, analyzed over a sustained period. Steel research moves methodically, moves carefully, from idea to test. Years went into the muffler study. In constant consultation with the production experts and automotive specialists, the scientists finally produced the best solution within realistic cost limits: aluminized steel. They proceeded to test in life. 150 experimental mufflers were manufactured, installed on standard makes, and sent out on the road. 25,000 miles later, under average conditions of usage, the mufflers were removed, dissected as it were, and the results analyzed. Their handiwork looked good. The scientists were right. 4 out of every 5 new cars now come equipped with aluminized mufflers, substantially lengthening muffler life. The muffler story is matched by the washing machine story, the stove, the refrigerator, the seamless pipe, the stainless steel story. Yesterday's ideas and specialties, today's commodities. Research means making the best use of available sources of ore. This is the great Mesabi Range, an inexhaustible supply, as any schoolboy knows. But the truth is, the supply of high-grade ore is running out. The low iron content of the taconite rock that remains was thought to be too low for practical use, unless an economical way could be discovered to extract the silica and other impurities from taconite. The scientists went to work, first crushing the rock into powdered form. In conjunction with the University of Minnesota, they devised means of extracting the iron content from the powdered rock. After much experimentation, a magnetic method was devised to separate the iron from silica and other impurities, leaving a high-content iron powder. But this powder was as fine as flour. Placed in a blast furnace, as in this demonstration, it would simply blow out of the stack. It was useless. More experimentation followed until the scientists discovered a way to agglomerate the fine powder, to make it into pellets. Now, taconite in pellet form could be put into the blast furnace and not blow out. The work continued. Manufacturing facilities were developed in the laboratory. 8 years and more than $200 million went into solving the problem. Steel could be made now from taconite rock. The great Mesabi Range became once more inexhaustible. Yesterday's research idea is today's commonplace. Pelletizing is now the most widely used method on Earth for making steel from powdered ores. From the president and the director of research to every plant worker, research is not merely an aspect of company policy, it is the essence of the company. 35 years ago, steel making was the back-breaking work of strong men with tongs, passing the hot metal back and forth. The process was slow, hazardous, costly. Why not make steel the way paper is made, in a continuous process? It can't be done, the experts replied. But John Titus of Armco wouldn't listen. It took him 16 years to prove that continuous rolling of steel could be accomplished. The new process ended the slow, primitive methods of steel making, ended the brutal toil for the steel worker, and ushered in the age of mass production and abundance. Today, steel producers throughout the world utilize this method, and steel rolls through the mills at 24 miles an hour. The breakthrough by Titus was followed by another important breakthrough. If continuous rolling of steel is possible, asked a man named Senzima, why can't it be coated continuously? Again, research found the answer. Armco made possible the continuous production of zinc grip that made possible thousands of new consumer products which had hitherto depended upon more costly and less durable painted steels. Steel research also investigates the process of melting steel. A decade ago, using air for combustion, the average time for refining was 12 hours. Today, by forcing pure oxygen into the molten metal, the time needed for an average heat has been cut in half. New processes like the basic oxygen converter reduce it even further, cut an average heat to 1 hour. Research constantly examines advanced ways of making steel. Here it is being made in a vacuum. High-speed cameras record the process for study. It is used only for extremely high-purity steel today. Tomorrow, when it becomes more economical, it will be put into mass production. From operators, from engineers, from salesmen, as well as from the scientists themselves. For it is the company's policy to encourage every man to be research-minded. All are on the research team: sales, operations, staff, all divisions, sales offices, and plants. In the words of President Logan Johnston, seen with Research Director Ted Olt, research is the backbone of our democracy, for it has created freedom from want without denying the rights and dignity of the individual. From the continuous rolling mills of steel production developed by research come the continuous assembly lines of products. Autos, the miracle of mass production. Stoves, washing machines, dishwashers, bathtubs, refrigerators, fences, TV antennas, bolts and fasteners, wheels that move the nation's railroad cars, wire rope used in bridges and construction, bars, grinding balls for mining and cement making, welded tubing for bicycles and lawn furniture, steel to bring oil from the depths of the earth and transport it 1,000 miles, steel for ships and for cranes, steel resistant to corrosion, bridges, culverts, and drainage structures, and a wide range of buildings. Steel that is beautiful and steel that is strong. In everyday life, commonplace uses, but each important. And in 1,000 unseen uses, gas mains and coils. The spine of the skyscrapers rising proudly. The great petroleum industry. The vast and complex world of construction. Steel for water and for fuel, for electricity. Steel until one wonders, how did man live before there was the miracle of modern steel? What have these last 35 years of scientific advance meant to Americans? What has happened to Main Street, USA, and to the Peters family in that brief period? We have grown. Nearly 200 million people live in this, the most abundant society devised by man. We live better, have a greater share in the luxuries than any people have ever known. The richness is cultural as well, spiritual. Steel has helped us to enjoy more of the higher values of life. For the Peters, today's average family, these 35 years have brought a revolution in living. 2 out of 3 people now own their own homes. Our population has increased by 75 million. Today, 5 times as many children finish high school and 10 times as many graduate from college as in the 20s. From 55 cents an hour, Dad's rate of pay has climbed to $2.39. Because of progress in steel, fundamental to all progress, the family enjoys the improvements, enjoys greater freedom, greater leisure. More adult classes are taken, more books are read. There is more participation in this, our democratic process. Food is better, more easily cooked. Health care is better. The family has more time to be together, to play together, to enjoy life together. Because of research, because of steel, because of progress. This is the future of America. This boy, an active human being, an inquisitive one. His searching mind asks the as yet unanswered questions. This generation will move faster on steel, more safely, break new barriers, speed and time and place. They will harness nuclear energy and explore the far reaches of the universe. This we know. Steel, the fiber of America today, will be the sinew that will answer the challenge of the future.
Well, they laid on pretty heavy. Yeah, steel. That's 20th century. 21st century couldn't have happened without steel. So thank you, steel. And films like this, I love. You know, whoever, this is what we call a sponsored film. It's sponsored by Amco Steel. I digitize a bunch of U.S. steel films. Same thing. Same type of thing. I'm both talking about how great steel is for our civilization and society, and raw steel. I mean, certainly any other industry could talk about how they're important they are, like enriched bread or light bulbs or plumbing fixtures. All have their own version of this, which I delight in showing because it's pretty wonderful. Hi, I'm Skip Alzheimer, and welcome to our AV Geeks Lunchtime streaming show. I just did a Veterans Day show for the North Carolina Museum of History, and then seconds after, switched over, and I made it. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it, but I did. And so I've got a couple of choice films from that show that I'll be showing today, home movies. But first, let's watch an actual 16mm film, which is What You Eat, You Are.
What you eat, you are. Or are you what you eat? Let's find out. People like to feel good and look good. They like to sleep well and stay healthy. Don't you? Do these things depend on what you eat? What does food mean to you and your family? Children like food because it tastes good or looks good. They eat food because it's time to or when they get hungry. But smart parents know that their children must eat to grow, to build strong bodies, and to stay wide awake and healthy. Just as growing plants need food, water, and care, your body needs a mixture of the right foods every day to grow strong and healthy, and even to make you feel happy and full of energy. In other words, you need good nutrition. Nutrition comes from the food you eat and from the way your body uses it. Part of the food you eat provides energy for you to move. Other parts provide your body with all the material it needs to grow and repair itself. These parts are called nutrients, and your body needs many different kinds of nutrients. One kind will give you the energy to play and work, while another will make your bones grow strong. Still another helps you fight off disease. No one food has all the nutrients you need, so it's important that you eat different kinds of food. This is what is known as a balanced diet. A balanced diet consists of meat and other protein foods, fruits and vegetables, milk and dairy products, and the enriched grain products, such as bread, rice, grits, and cereals.
For most members of a family, good nutrition comes from simply eating the food prepared for them. But for the housewife or whoever is in charge of meal planning, it is very important to know how to prepare a balanced diet.
To stretch food dollars and get the best nutrition possible within a limited budget, you must plan your meals carefully. When you shop, always use a list. Before you go to the store, decide what you will need for each meal until the next time you shop. Buy only what you can safely store while it is fresh.
Nutrition workers teach that flour, meal, sugar, cereals, crackers, and rice should be kept tightly closed in metal or plastic containers or screw-top jars. Save plastic bread wrappers and snap-lid containers to use for safe storage or opened packages. Be careful to cover any leftover food that is saved. Even things kept in the refrigerator should be covered so that the flavor will not be lost or picked up by another food. Sometimes you can save money by buying a larger size in some products, but learn what you can store and for how long, because some things will spoil before they can be used. Check newspaper ads for special food sales and plan your meals around these. Look for the thrifty buys, because different food stores vary in their prices. When you shop, always check the amount printed on the package. Often the store where you shop carries its own brand of a particular food at a lower cost. Don't be fooled by fancy packages. A plain package may cost less for the same amount of food. Remember, it's the amount and quality of food which is important, not the size or beauty of the package.
Plan your meals before you shop. It is easy to give your family a balanced diet, and probably with the food budget you now use. Just make sure that each day your family gets food from the 4 basic food groups, because each group of food contains a particular nutrient which is needed by the body. By selecting food from each food group, you can be assured that your family is getting a balanced diet. These 4 groups are the milk group, something from this group for everybody. And we should eat 4 servings of fruits and vegetables, as well as 2 servings of meat or other protein food every day. We all need to eat 4 servings of enriched grain products from the bread group. Try to plan your meals so that each member of the family gets a balanced diet of these basic food groups each day. First, let's look at milk.
Buy dry milk to stretch your food dollar. Dry milk gives you 3 quarts for the same money as 1 quart of homogenized milk. Dry milk saves money and is easy to prepare. Just put the proper amount of cool water into a mixing container. Pour the dry milk, which can be bought in either whole milk or skim milk form, and stir or shake this into your measuring cup to the proper level. And then into the container of water. You can use this right away for cooking or store it in the refrigerator for drinking or for future use. Dry milk can also be used in the preparation of breads, puddings, and creamed vegetables or meat. The directions are on the box. Additional food value, more nutritional value, can be obtained by adding dry milk to regular milk when you cook.
The second food group contains most fruits and vegetables. Remember, you can save money by buying fresh fruits and vegetables in season. Canned vegetables and fruits are also good for you and are a thrifty buy when they're not being grown locally. A family garden will save you even more. Tomatoes are very good for you and can be grown on a small plot of land or even in a large bucket. Vegetables and fruits fresh from your garden taste good, and you can also store them for winter use by either canning or freezing.
Fruits and vegetables give you vitamins and minerals needed for growth and energy. Select those that are firm and fresh. Overripe fruits and vegetables cost less, but are not a bargain unless you plan to use them immediately. Overripe produce spoils quickly, and then your money is wasted. And don't forget, fresh fruits and vegetables should always be washed before cooking or eating them raw. When you're cooking, remember, the good taste and nutritional value of food is lost if it is cooked too long in too much water. Watch the thrifty homemaker cook vegetables. First, she rinses the pot and adds just enough water to prevent the vegetables from sticking while they cook. A small amount of pork or fat is added to the water for seasoning, together with salt, about 1 teaspoon per quart of water. Then she washes her vegetables, in this case cabbage, and cuts it into small pieces. When the water is just to the boiling point, she adds the cabbage and cooks it at a good simmer, not boiling, for about 8 minutes, or until tender. Most vegetables and fruits cook in about 6 to 20 minutes. Be careful not to overcook them or they will lose flavor and food value as well.
The third group is meat and other high-protein foods. Every person needs some meat or fish each day. You should eat lean red meat, particularly beef liver or pork liver, to build strong bodies and blood. Remember, it is the amount of lean in a piece of meat that gives you the most food value, not the price per pound or the cut. For the same money, you get 3 to 4 times the value of protein by buying hamburger rather than T-bone steaks. Consider the number of servings per pound. It will help you stretch your meat dollar.
For example, neck bones may seem cheap, costing only about half as much as hamburger, but a pound of hamburger will give 4 servings, whereas a pound of neck bone will give only 1 serving of red meat. So for twice the money, you get 4 times the number of servings of meat. Careful preparation of meat can make even the cheapest cuts of meat taste good. Always cook your meat, roasts, chicken, and other meats at a low temperature to save the juices and flavor. Use as little water as possible when cooking meat, and keep the pot tightly covered. When you roast meat in the oven, don't overcook it. As soon as the meat is done, remove it from the oven to keep it from getting dry and hard. Other good sources of protein are nuts, peanut butter, beans, and especially soybeans. You can use soybean meal to add to your food's protein value. This meal can be mixed with regular flour or meal to make cornbread, biscuits, and other baked goods. Food made with added soybean meal tastes no different than food made with only flour or meal, but it is much richer and can be cheaper than meat for the amount of protein your body receives. For instance, this piece of cornbread made with 2 ounces of soybean meal added to the flour and cornmeal is equal in protein value to this 4-ounce hamburger patty.
The fourth basic food group is the enriched grain products. Whenever you shop, always look for the word enriched printed on the package. This means that extra vitamins and minerals have been added to the grain, corn, rice, or wheat. Look closely at this rice. That powdery substance on the grain is very high in food value. If you wash your rice, you wash away that extra food value. So you should never wash any enriched grain product. Cook them in just enough water to be used up in cooking. If you use too much water and pour it off, you pour away those vitamins and minerals your body needs.
Remember, to get a balanced diet, you should eat vegetables. First of all, leafy green and yellow vegetables, tomatoes, potatoes, and other root vegetables like carrots or beets, and fruits, especially citrus fruits, every day. For protein, eat meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and beans or peas. And remember, everyone needs some milk or milk products like cheese every day. You can complete your diet with several servings of bread, cereal, or other enriched grain products like macaroni, rice, or grits. Sweet food like desserts, candy, and sugar-sweetened drinks add to a meal's pleasure and also give you fuel to burn for energy.
Everybody needs a balanced diet, but there are some cases where even eating the right food will not make you healthy. In the South, many children have intestinal parasites known as ascaris and commonly called stomach worms. They live inside the body and use up some of the food you eat. And since these worms use a part of your food for their growth, you don't get all of the value from the food which you've eaten. Getting rid of the worms will make better nutrition possible. This is simple to do. Here, at a health clinic, a nurse is giving a cherry-flavored deworming syrup to children in a community known to have worms. Each child will get just the right amount of this syrup. Now the school lunch this child eats will help him grow, not some worm living inside him.
People become infested with worms by swallowing the worm eggs. When anyone puts dirty fingers, sticks, or toys into their mouths, they may be putting in worm eggs too, because these tiny eggs grow in dirt. Therefore, it is important to keep your food and the place where you eat clean. Don't take chances with your health. Cleanliness will protect your family. Always keep the place where you cook and eat in your home clean. Wash your hands and use your toilet indoors or out. Wipe up spills when they happen. Then flies and insects will not be attracted to them. Flies and insects can carry diseases and germs to any food they touch. Pets should be kept away from food storage areas as well as from cooking and eating areas. This is because pets carry dirt on their fur, and some of this dirt may have worm eggs or germs of other diseases in it. Be sure that the windows and doors in your home, particularly those in your kitchen, are covered with screens to keep out flies and other insects. Look for mice and rat holes. If you find any, cover them with tin and set traps.
Good nutrition comes from eating the right food, but we should also remember that good nutrition depends on each member of a family working together. The homemaker who plans, selects, and prepares the food, and each person eating his share with everyone helping to keep himself and his home safe and clean. This means clean hands while cooking or eating, clean pots and pans and dishes, and a clean room in which to serve and eat fresh food, food that looks good and is good for you. Early to bed and early to rise alone cannot make you healthy and wise, but cleanliness and a nutritious diet go far, so that what you eat, you are.
Sorry for the not so appetizing footage in there. You know, it's a film about eating. I didn't figure it would go too far beyond that. But also apologize. I showed this back in August. Thing is, like, there's a group of these films that all kind of came out around the same time, including Ro Rivas Talks About Worms, because it was all from the same grant. And so they shot a bunch of footage for different projects, and they would liberally reuse it. So this family also shows up in Food and Drugs, which is a film that, I don't know if I've shown that one or not. But yeah, I have multiple copies of this, which is why I accidentally showed this one again. And it wasn't good in checking my notes. But Yeah, so there you go. So the idea is this film would be shown in grade school, high school, middle school to potential homemakers, and also and homemaker extension office things about how to prepare healthy foods. And because that's what this grant was about. The malnutrition part of this was also related to the Ascaris parasite, which Rorivis talks about, and is also in the film Who Lives With You. So there you go. So I said it's Veterans Day. Excuse me. So I have my father and my stepfather both served in Vietnam. And let me show some home movies that they shot while they were serving. This first one is my father, John Elsheimer Jr. I'm not a junior. They changed my middle name. But anyways, so this is from the actual ship's log. He was on the Forrestal, which was an aircraft carrier. Him and John McCain, actually. So this is from the ship's log, May 20th, 1967. The Forrestal remained at Pier 12 Naval Operating Base, Norfolk, Virginia, until very early 20th May 1967, when 3,500 family members, friends, and relatives of the Forrestal crew members arrived on board the Forrestal this clear, sunny Saturday for a family day cruise. I was a baby. I was a wee little baby. And I distantly remember being on an aircraft carrier deck, but I can't be sure if this was the same thing. I'm not absolutely sure. Because my mother was in Norfolk with me during this time. Friends and family members started arriving early for the exciting day. Soon the mooring lines were hauled in and the Forrestal began to get underway. So family members were actually able to ride to sail on this aircraft carrier. After special sea and anchor detail was secured, families walked around the hangar bays, looking at various aircraft. Friends and family members were shown the mess deck area and the berthing compartments of their sailors. Sailors took their guests to the small store and the jewelry shop on the second deck. They walked up to the O2 level and showed them the forecastle. Size of the anchor chain links really impressed them when he told them each link of the chain weighed 360 pounds. Later, a destroyer, USS Vogelgesang, came alongside for a highline transfer. And so this is where they put a line across. They watched the transfer from the starboard side. Ensign John F. Elsheimer, 1st Division's junior division officer, is being transferred ever to and back from the Vogelsang because he is the Forrestal's most junior officer. Some officers have all the luck. So this was a friend, or maybe my mother, shot this footage as my dad was going across on a high line from one ship to another. Here he goes. My dad said it was quite harrowing because you've got two ships that are bouncing up and down, a little bit different and out of sync. And so there you go. Tragically, there was a big fire on the Forrestal. And so many people died, and some people had to be transported that way. I would say months later. My dad said it was like he was under the decks, and thankfully he wasn't where he was supposed to be because he would have been killed. But he said it was like being in a giant bell and just being rung really hard. It was so loud. Basically what had happened was some of the armaments fell off of one of the jets and caused this chain reaction of explosions. He certainly suffered some hearing damage from it, but also just the PTSD of it all, just the aftermath of, seeing people walking around with severe burns, people dead, all that. It was really quite horrifying for him. All right. The next one is my stepfather, D. Hillier, who was in the Marines near, I'm going to get this wrong, Da Hung. I'll get the name of it. But anyways, this was the enlistment man's club, and they would have USO performers come through. And this one is particularly joyous. Dong Ha. This is where it was stationed near there. He said that the USO people were under military guard, especially the women, for obvious reasons. So you had a bunch of dudes out in the middle of nowhere. So you can see there's some good times had. I asked my stepfather, I said, so were people drinking during this? And he's like, well, no, not really during these events. He said that the enlisted men were allowed 2 beers a day, but the officers were allowed beer and liquor. Although enlisted men figured out ways to get their own liquor, he said that he knew a guy who bought some vodka, drank it, and it was formaldehyde. It got him very sick, and they found out that the bottle had actually been altered with a hole in the bottom where they took out the vodka and put formaldehyde. And so a guy got really sick. He said that a lot of the Vietnamese natives would sell alcohol or try to sell alcohol to servicemen, and also pornography. And, whatever those folks want. So anyways, all of us have a family member or know somebody who served in the military. And while I am not a proponent of war and many of the battles and wars that were fought and the reasons why they were fought, I do believe that we should support the people that actually served, because they sacrificed. Many sacrificed their lives. Many sacrificed with injuries and scarring and disabilities caused by their serving, both physically and mentally. And I feel like it's important that we support them. Honor them on one day with a parade, but really honor them by, making sure that they're housed, that they're fed, if they can work, give them jobs, and give them easy access to medical and psychiatric care if they need it. There's my little soapbox thing. But I think that, so many people, especially from my age, their parents, their fathers served. And so they sacrificed their young adulthood and being able to spend time with their new babies because they were in Vietnam. So there's that. All right, so back to the films. This is a family films film. Now I'm just going to check and make sure I haven't shown it already. I have not. So this is Family Films, of course, the Christian educational film company. And this is a short little vignette, something that would have been shown in church, Sunday school, or even on television in some cases. So here's Love Thy Neighbor.
My neighbor, and your neighbor. How often has this homey word appeared in print? How many poems and songs and prose have been inspired by that next-door neighbor? How often is it mentioned in the scriptures, both in the Old and the New Testaments? Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Yes, that's an old familiar quotation, isn't it? And a mighty good one, too. And whether it be amidst the hustle and bustle of the big city, or in the quiet serenity of pastoral splendor, or the quaintness of some small town, there are people who do love their neighbors. One may find them any place, in any street, in any walk of life. Folks like the Smiths next door, or some fellow like our mailman, old Lem Clumpet.
Hi, Mr. Trumpet.
Well, hello there, Bobby. How's the little man?
I'm okay.
Ed, we couldn't give it to you no harm, my boy. Can't break regulations, you know. But wait, somewhere here in this bag of mine, I got something special. Yeah.
Oh, boy, thanks. Whee, peppermint.
Your favorite, ain't it?
Yeah. How'd you know?
Oh, mailman gets to know a lot of things, son. Yes, sirree. Don't take long for a mailman to know more about the folks on his route than what they knows themselves.
How'd you get to know that?
Well, just a matter of keeping your eyes open and your mouth closed, son. Well, look here. Mighty pretty Hadley roses, ain't they, boy?
Sure are. They're my mom's favorite roses. I'm saving money to get a rose tree, just like this one.
Young man, if you got any money to save, you better give it to your mother. Perhaps it'll help her to pay...
I reckon here's them tax bills you was waiting for, Mr. Caldwell.
It's about time. Mail's getting slower and slower all... Look at that. Another increase. Year after year, the same story. Taxes and more taxes. A man saves and scrimps. I buy a few little pieces of income property for my old age, and what happens? I'm taxed to death.
Yeah, it ain't worth it, I reckon. Why don't you give your houses away to your tenants and let them worry about paying the taxes?
Yeah.
That mean old crab. I don't like him.
You oughtn't to talk like that, Bobby. Matter of fact, you ought to feel sorry for Mr. Cogswell.
Me? Why, he's rich.
Yes, that's just the point. See, when a man allows his worldly goods to destroy his peace of mind, he's to be pitied.
Well, I still don't like him.
Well, I'm surprised, son. Ain't you already learned that you ought to love your neighbor?
Miss Wingate said a new family moved in here last week.
Well, it ain't exactly a family, son. It's a lone bachelor from Chicago, studying to be an insurance broker. He's got a heap of kinfolk and friends back there, but he had to come out here for his health.
What does he look like?
Well, don't right know, son. I ain't never laid eyes on him yet.
Then how'd you know all that about him?
No, just keeping my eyes open, that's all. You know, sometimes I add 2 and 2 and get 5. But most times I get the right answer. Yes, sir.
Oh, good morning.
Morning.
What a lovely day. You poor man carrying that heavy bag on a day like this. You must be all tuckered out.
Me tuckered out? No, ma'am. Don't ever get near as tired as lots of folks but ain't got nothing to do.
Oh, did you know that our new landlord, Mr. Cogswell, has rented the place next door?
Did you now? Well, I hadn't noticed.
Oh, Mr. Clumpet, you're so cute. You hadn't noticed. Why, I just saw you delivering the people's mail. What's their name?
Well, I don't rightly know, ma'am. You see, me, I don't pay much attention to names, only addresses. Now, why don't that landlord fix up this step? Don't know how many times I've reminded Mr. Cogswell about it.
Hi, Mom. See what Mr. Clumpet gave me?
Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Good morning.
Morning, ma'am. There you be. It's a nice day, ain't it?
Is this all?
That's all, ma'am. You know, ma'am, I just remember a little saying that goes like this. Yesterday is but a dream. Tomorrow only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream, a happiness, and every tomorrow a vision, a hope.
Say, that's good and very appropriate. Did you make it up yourself?
Oh, I ain't that smart, Miss Palmer. No, I only try to live by it, that's all. Well, good day, ladies.
Bye.
Hang that step.
How are things, Madge? Oh, same old thing. Nothing but bills. Oh, take it easy, honey. Something better will turn up. I simply have to find myself some other type of work. No matter how many hours I spend at that sewing machine, I still can't get ahead. Wait a minute. No, thanks, Brenda. I owe you too much as it is. Oh, stop that nonsense. Well, all right, if that's the way you feel. But look, Madge, isn't it about time you came out of your shell? Meaning what? So you're a widow. Does that mean you have to bury yourself in the past? Why don't you think of the future? Look at your boy tagging along after that old mailman. Madge, did it ever occur to you that every child needs a father? Yes, I know, but it's such a dangerous step to take. What if Bobby didn't like the man I was to choose? Well, why not if he's the right one? Look, honey, there's a social at the community center every Tuesday. Yes, I know, but I haven't anything dressy enough to wear. Oh, I have enough for the both of us. Now, look, why don't you come along with me next Tuesday? Just for a change. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Now, if you're looking for something, there's nothing doing today, son. Scat. Hey. Come to think of it, maybe I got something left over from yesterday. Huh? Let's see now. Yeah, here it is. Bubble gum.
Thanks, Mr. Clumpet. Can I walk with you?
Sure thing, sure thing.
Boy, this new neighbor sure gets a lot of mail, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, but that don't ever take the place of real friendly neighbors, son. You know, a fella can get a lot of mail and still be mighty lonesome.
You can say that again. A stranger sure can get mighty lonesome. Any mail?
Yeah.
Is that all?
This here is Bobby Miller, one of your neighbors. Bobby, this is Mr. What's your name?
You kidding? Didn't you just hand me this?
Oh, that? Oh, well, I seldom pays any attention to names. Only addresses.
Oh. Hiya, Bobby. My name's Cliff Gilmore.
Glad to know you, sir.
Me too. You play baseball?
Yeah, sure.
Well, swell. Let's get together someday, huh? So long, Bobby. I'll see you.
Seems like a right nice enough fella, don't he, Bobby?
Yeah, I like him. You really think he's lonesome like he says?
Well, I don't rightly know, son. But if he's lonesome, he ain't gonna be that way very long.
Hi, come in. Hi, honey. Here's a couple of old dresses I'm throwing away. I thought maybe you could get some use out of them. Old dresses? Well, they don't fit me anymore. Hey, that ought to be just right for tomorrow night. Tomorrow night? Well, that's right. Have you forgotten the social? Oh, Brenda, I can't go. Oh, but you've got to. It'll do you good. Oh, Brenda, I'm sorry. It was sweet of you to go to all this trouble, but I can't go. Oh, I wonder who that is. Oh, probably a magazine peddler. Oh.
Good afternoon. My name's Gilmore. I'm a neighbor of yours. The postman left this at my place by mistake, and...
Oh, that's odd. He left one of your letters here.
Maybe the heat's got him.
The old boy's getting balmy. I, too, have a letter for you. I'm Brenda Palmer.
We seem to be playing games. Yours, I believe.
Thanks. Won't you come in?
Thank you.
Don't run away. I'll get yours. This is almost like exchanging visiting cards, isn't it?
Well, it's a very pleasant diversion for me. I must remember to thank the mailman for his mistake.
Oh. Here you are.
Thank you.
You know, that mailman's wasting talent. He should be chairman of a Love Thy Neighbor committee. Well, should we settle all this confusion over a cup of tea?
Wonderful.
Fine. All right. And don't you think she'd look gorgeous in this?
I sure do.
Thanks. There, that settles it. Oh, Brenda, I can't possibly go. What about Bobby? I can't take him along. And he's got to be in bed by 8 o'clock so he can be at school in the morning.
Don't worry about that. I'll take care of Bobby for you.
Well, that settles that. Oh, I don't think it's right for me to accept Mr. Gilmore's offer. After all, he...
Don't be ridiculous. Bobby and I'll get along fine.
Oh, I'll get it, Madge.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm here to see Mrs. Miller.
Well,
will you?
she's not available at the moment.
Miss Palmer, I'll thank you not to prevaricate.
Who's a liar? I said she wasn't available.
Well, let's not quibble over words. If you...
Look, Angel Face, be nice and come back tomorrow, huh?
Miss Palmer, I'm accustomed to collecting my rents on time. Mrs. Miller's is 1 month overdue, and I'm not leaving until I see her.
Pardon me.
Therefore, if you will kindly tell...
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Cogswell. If you'll just give me a little more time.
Mrs. Miller, I'll give you till the end of the week to either pay your rent or give up the place.
Do you mean you'd make her move? Well, if you do, you can find yourself a new tenant to take my place,
Well, Miss
too.
Palmer, I got my obligations to meet. I can't carry on my business... Oh!
Oh, Cogswell!
What happened? Oh, my leg.
Wow!
Oh,
Well,
oh,
guess that's what some folks would call poetic justice.
my hip. Here, let me help you. Oh.
He fell on the broken step.
I think I broke something. And oh, my.
Well, that's that I'm mistaken, which I don't think I am. You have.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh.
Better leave him here and call a doctor.
Oh, my, this is awful. Oh, my.
If you ask me, I'd say you got off mighty lucky.
Lucky. I'd be lying in pain for weeks.
Sure, but there ain't nothing ever so bad but what it could have been worse. You might have broken your neck.
Too bad you didn't. Fix the step.
Oh.
Mr. Cogswell, that mailman say he's come to visit with you.
To visit me?
Why not? Ain't no law against visiting the sick man, is there?
You came to visit me? Why?
Well, just combining a little business with pleasure, that's all. First, I got some mail for you. And, Mrs. Miller asked me to bring you this.
Mrs. Miller? I don't understand.
No, I didn't think you would.
Well, I'd hardly expect her to,
Return good for evil?
That's not quite what I meant to say.
Well, you can put it into any words you like, Mr. Cogswell. But either you live by the golden rule or you don't. So she sent you the roses, and me, I brought you a book.
Oh. Thank you. The Nabob. What's it about?
Well, it's about a man who was so busy making money, he couldn't find time to enjoy the things it could have brought him.
Seems like a rather, shall I say, stupid character.
Yeah, you could call it that. But then there's lots of foolish people like that in the world. That's a nice bouquet, ain't it?
Yes, it is nice. Fragrance almost the same as my Hadley's.
Well, should be. Coming from your own bush.
What? You mean to say...
Why not? Would you rather have them blossoms die on their stems than to enjoy them with your own eyes? Me, I think it was a mighty sweet thought, to say nothing of the trouble of making the bouquet. Well, be seeing you again, Mr. Cogswell. And, I'll tell Mrs. Miller how you enjoyed the roses.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Clumpet.
Where you going in such a hurry, boy?
Going to Mr. Gilmore's place. He's teaching me to throw a knuckleball.
Oh, you and him's getting along nice, huh?
Oh, sure.
That's fine. That's fine.
Good morning, Mr. Clumpet. Any mail for me today?
Not today, I'm sorry. You know, things look kind of different around here lately, don't it?
Huh?
I see that step's been fixed up. Huh?
Yes, Mr. Gilmore fixed it. Pretty good job, don't you think?
Yeah, mighty good job. That Mr. Gilmore seems like a mighty solid citizen. And I noticed that he and your Bobby kind of taken to each other.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed.
By the way, I dropped in to see Mr. Cogswell.
Oh, how is he?
Oh, he's fine, fine. And he told me to thank you for them roses you sent him.
Roses? But I didn't send him any roses.
Oh, yes, you did. I took him over there myself. Stuffed him, too.
Now, whatever possessed you to... Oh. Thanks. I guess I should have thought about doing that myself.
You know, if you and some of the rest of the neighbors would send Mr. Cogswell flowers and go to see him now and then, why, maybe...
Are you kidding?
I know how you feel, but that's a mighty bad feeling. Just like a boomerang. Most times it misses its target, comes right back to hit you smack dab in the face. Oh, sure, Mr. Cogswell's sour, But maybe what made him like that was the doings of some other folks who was nasty and mean. Now me, I'd say a little neighborly love might sweeten him into the nicest man you ever knew.
That I'd like to see.
Well, there's some good in all of us. Takes very little sometimes to bring it out. Of course, me, I always say it's worth trying.
I think you're right, Mr. Clumpet. As a matter of fact, I think I'll pay him a visit.
Well, now, that's a right neighborly gesture, ma'am. Be kind of nice if you went along with Mrs. Miller, don't you think?
Well, all right, I'll go.
That's splendid. Splendid. Fine, fine.
Tastiest creamed chicken I ever ate. Did you really make it yourself?
Uh-huh. I'm glad you like it. I hear it's your favorite dish.
Indeed. How'd you know?
Mr. Clumpet told me.
That mailman seems to know everything. I should complain when he gets me something like this. Once again, I must say, it's very nice of you.
Well, I'd better be going. Goodbye.
Bye. See you later.
And thanks for calling. Oh, Miss Miller, you know that new tenant, Mr. Gilmore, he was in to see me the other day. Nice fella, isn't he? You know, I think he would enjoy some of this.
Well, he's already had some.
Oh. Come in.
Howdy. How is the impatient patient?
Impatient's correct. I'll certainly be glad to get out of this bed. On second thought, will I? You know, somehow or other, I can't help but look back on that broken step as a blessing. Since being laid up, I've learned a lot of things. You should have given me that book long ago. That character in it. I'm just like him in my own small way. I can truthfully say I've been just as stupid.
Say, you sharpened up mighty fast of a sudden.
After all this, even a blind man couldn't help but see the light. I shall always remember this. Now at least I can say I'm awake.
Oh, you aren't the only one who was asleep. A lot of us had to be awakened, too. Thanks, it was a wonderful experience.
Of course it was. Doing right always is. The thing that I don't understand is why so many people waste so much time and energy doing the opposite.
Clumpet, I never realized that being a mailman required so much wisdom.
Oh, shucks. You want to know something? Wisdom is only a matter of putting your trust in the Lord. Hadn't you better be getting on home? That certain fella will be waiting for you, and I don't think you ought to keep him waiting too long, do you?
Oh, I had no idea of the time, but I'll say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Mr. Gilmore?
I think you'd better be getting yourself a for rent sign ready, because I think you're going to lose one of your tenants.
Good morning. Where would you like the gardener to plant these?
Hadley roses.
Oh, boy. It's your favorite, isn't it, Mom?
How thoughtful of you.
The pleasure is all mine. Joe, you plant these roses wherever the lady wishes.
Oh, Mr. Cogswell,
Yeah?
which house will they want me to put the sign on?
Hi, Mr. Crumpet. Look at the Hadley roses. You know, I don't understand it, but Mr. Cogswell sure has changed a lot in the last year, hasn't he?
Well, it ain't so hard to understand, Bobby. Some folks won't admit it, son, but everybody is hungry for love. And when somebody loves us, we just can't help loving them back. It's as simple as that. Yes, sirree. Long time ago, there was a carpenter who went around telling folks that if they wanted to be happy, they had to love one another. And I reckon he knew what he was talking about, because it still works out just exactly the way he said. Don't it?
So, this film can, which I often refer to, it says please rewind, and then it says love each other. So maybe that carpenter wrote that in there. I'm not sure. Anyways, that was Family Films, Love Thy Neighbor, and the busybody mailman who was engineering the lives of the people that he served. Wonderful character actor. I don't know what else he's been in, but somebody found him in the credits. But thank you guys for tuning in today. Thanks for watching my family's home movies of Vietnam and being on an aircraft carrier. Somebody wanted to know what shirt I was wearing. It's a Home Movie Day shirt. I'm a big proponent of Home Movie Day, which is a celebration of home movies. We did one in September virtually, kind of did a ad hoc one just before this show with the North Carolina History Museum. But home movies, they kind of capture our cultural history and capture things that weren't necessarily captured on television or in newsreels. And so, big fan of those, making sure that those stay safe for future generations to enjoy and to study. If you like what you saw, you can buy me some coffee. AV Geeks loves coffee, especially when it's gray outside. It's caffeine kind of percolates in the brain. Share this with friends and family, like, subscribe, follow, whatever the button is. You can go to avgeeks.com, which will show you other things that we've done. This was our 220th show since mid-March. We've done monthly screenings prior to that, but this is pretty phenomenal. It's sad that it took me a pandemic to do this, but I'm happy that you guys tune in and I get to show you movies that I haven't seen. And every once in a while, I accidentally show you a film that I have seen. Yeah, join me tomorrow, 1 o'clock, and we will see you again soon. Just as a reminder to please rewind and to love each other, honor the veterans in your family, your friends. They sacrificed a lot to serve, and so they should be honored, not just on this day, but all the time, because they are our friends and our family. And so see you tomorrow. Everybody take care. Love you. Bye.